I'm Jonathan Watt with the Tara Group International. We hope you're enjoying the content that we're posting, and if you are and would like to support this ministry, please press the like button and subscribe to our channel. We're going to explore today a little window into church history that took place in the 7th century. It was called the Synod of Whitby in the year 664, which became a turning point specifically in the history of English Christianity. In the mid-7th century, the Christian church in England was divided in its practices and cultural influences. There were two traditions, Celtic Christianity, which centered in monasteries in Ireland and Northumbria, and then there was a Roman Christianity aligned with the papacy in Rome, and they vied for authority and influence. And the conflict came to a head in the year 664 with this Synod of Whitby, a dramatic council that was convened by King Oswiu of Northumbria to resolve disputes over Easter calculation, clerical tonsure, a form of haircut, and broader questions of ecclesiastical authority. And the Synod would have long-lasting consequences for the identity of the English Church, shaping its alignment with Roman practice and reinforcing the authority of the papacy in this segment in Northern Europe. Here's the context. By the early 600s, Christianity had spread widely in England already, but through two distinct channels. There were Celtic missionaries influenced by Irish monastic traditions, and they had established monasteries and ecclesiastical communities in Northumbria, Iona, and other regions. The Celtic Church had unique customs, including its method of calculating Easter, the use of a distinct monastic tonsure or style of haircut, as we mentioned. And then on the other side, there were Roman missionaries who arrived through southern England, particularly with the work of Augustine of Canterbury and the mission that was sent by Pope Gregory the Great a few years earlier in 597. Now, Roman practices emphasized papal authority and canonical procedures and alignment with the continental church. Now, while both traditions shared core Christian beliefs in common, there were differences in ritual, different views of hierarchy and authority, and various liturgical practices, which in their differences created tension between those of these two traditions. So by the 660s, these differences had become more than academic debates. They were matters of political and cultural significance, because the dating of Easter, for instance, symbolized allegiance and legitimacy, as celebrating at the wrong time could be seen as rejecting a broader Christian authority. So King Oswiu's dilemma was this. Oswiu of Northumbria faced a delicate problem. He was married to Queen Enflad, who followed Roman practices, while Oswiu himself had been raised in the Celtic tradition. And these divergent practices created, if you will, a practical confusion in worship and theological tension right within the royal court. And choosing one tradition over the other was not just a spiritual decision, but it would signal political alignment and influence alliances with neighboring kingdoms and with the papacy. So to resolve the dispute, Oswiu convened a council at Whitby Abbey in the year 664, gathering leading churchmen from both traditions to present their arguments before the king and his court. And the debate took place. The debate at Whitby was, quite pointed. At the Synod, the Celtic and Roman representatives each presented their case. The Celtic faction was led by Abbess Hilda and Bishop Coleman, and they emphasized the spiritual heritage of St. Columba and Iona. And they argued for adherence to traditional Celtic calculations and practices, highlighted their missionary achievements and also their monastic rigor. Now, The Roman faction, on the other hand, was represented by a man named Wilfrid of York, who emphasized the authority of the papacy and the universal nature of the church. And Wilfrid argued that alignment with Rome ensured unity within the broader Christian world and conformed to the traditions of St. Peter, he argued, which of course was seen as the foundation for papal authority. So the debate became symbolic of deeper questions. Was local tradition sufficient? Or would the English church have to submit to a sort of universal set of norms? Should spiritual authority be regional, or should it be centralized under the Pope? So the decision had many implications, and I think you can see these emerging already. After hearing both sides, King Oswiu chose to adopt Roman practices primarily because he recognized the authority of the papacy and the importance of unity within the wider church. And he famously stated he did not want to oppose St. Peter, to whom Christ had given the keys of the kingdom of heaven. You can read about this from the Venerable Vied himself. So the decision had immediate consequences. Number one, with regard to Easter calculation, the English Church would celebrate Easter according to Roman practice, resolving confusion in Northumbria and aligning England with continental Christendom. Number two, the matter of clerical practice, Roman-style tonsure and ecclesiastical norms would become gradually adopted, bringing Northumbrian and other English monasteries into conformity with Rome. Number three, church identity. England became fully integrated into the Roman Christian world, reinforcing the papacy's influence and facilitating future missionary work in continental Europe. Now, while some Celtic communities continued their traditions in Ireland and Western Britain, the Synod marked a clear turning point for the English Church, laying the foundation for a more centralized, papally aligned ecclesiastical system. You can see there's great historical significance here. The Synod of Whitby was more than a ritualistic debate, but represented a crucial moment in the formation of English national and religious identity. And by choosing Roman authority, King Oswiu aligned England with the political and the spiritual currents of continental Europe, ensuring a greater cohesion, appearance of legitimacy, and of course, influence. So Whitby to this day illustrates the interplay between religion, politics, and culture. It was not just about theological correctness, it reflected the practical concerns of governments, diplomacy, and unity in a fragmented and often turbulent landscape. Finally, the event highlights the role of leadership and mediation, because Oswiu's decision shows how rulers could use councils and debates to resolve deep cultural and religious conflicts and set precedents for future synods and ecclesiastical governance. So we're going to continue the conversation, of course. The Synod of Whitby reminds us that religious decisions are rarely purely spiritual ones. They intersect with politics and identity and cultural cohesion. We ask you, how do contemporary faith communities navigate similar tensions between tradition and broader alignments? We'll ask, what lessons can be drawn from Whitby about leadership and negotiation and moral authority? We invite readers to share your insights, reflections, and topic suggestions in the comments below. What other pivotal moments in church history would you like us to explore in future blogs and videos? We're about supporting leaders and organizations, and if your church or nonprofit or community organization is seeking support in building strong leadership, planning impactful programs, delivering transformative transformative events, consider partnering with the Tara Group International. Our services include leadership, staff training, grant writing, keynote speaking, and retreat or conference leadership. We're about helping organizations to grow their capacity to serve effectively.